We all know the brutal truth about white slave masters abusing enslaved black women. That story is etched into history, but what about the women? The plantation wives, those proper Southern ladies wrapped in lace and piety who secretly preyed on enslaved black men. Tonight, we're tearing away the mask of gentility to uncover one of slavery's most disturbing, hidden chapters, the intimate power of the white mistress. Plantation wives lived in a strange limbo. On paper, they were queens of the household, second only to their husbands. They commanded servants, directed punishments, and oversaw daily labor. But beneath that privilege lay bitterness. A single dropped plate could bring a brutal whipping. A suspicious glance could earn hours of punishment under the burning southern sun. Slavery turned even the simplest moments into cruelty. The former slave Harriet Jacobs wrote in her memoir, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, that black girls grew up surrounded by danger, hunted by the lust of white men, and watched with jealousy by white women. Mistresses were raised as golden dolls, married at 15 or 16, expected to smile, obey, and be beautiful. Yet within their cages of privilege, they wielded real power over those who had none, and many didn't hesitate to use it. Their husbands' constant affairs with enslaved women produced children who were enslaved themselves. Imagine the mistress' humiliation raising, punishing, or selling the children of her husband's betrayals. That bitterness often turned violent. When the masters traveled, mistresses were left alone. Loneliness, rage, and jealousy sometimes morphed into something darker, and in rare but chilling cases, they sought revenge not against their husbands, but against enslaved men who had no power to say no. Historians like Captain Richard Hinton recorded cases of mistresses forcing enslaved men into sexual submission. Harriet Jacobs hinted at the same. These weren't romances, they were acts of dominance. Mistresses knew they could destroy a man with a single accusation. Refusal wasn't an option. In public, they embodied Christian morality. In private, some shattered every virtue they claimed to defend. Society painted white women as angels of the home, pure, moral, untouchable. But step onto a plantation, and that illusion collapses. Mistresses projected chastity, yet some pursued enslaved men behind closed doors. Pregnancies had to be hidden, and the children became dangerous reminders of secrets too explosive to reveal. For some, these children weren't just shame, they were twisted symbols of power. The law recognized mistresses as masters, too. In South Carolina, runaway slaves could be castrated whether fleeing a master or a mistress. Women bought, sold, and inherited slaves. Some became ruthless traders, manipulating markets for profit. This wasn't passive cruelty, it was active, deliberate. Many mistresses gained independence and wealth by crushing the people they owned. One of the ugliest truths, mistresses often turned on enslaved women who were victims of rape. Instead of sympathy, they saw rivals. Solomon Northup's memoir recounts the story of Patsy, a young woman who was whipped mercilessly at her mistress's command. This wasn't just discipline, it was sadism fueled by jealousy. Enslaved women were punished for crimes they never chose to commit. Mistresses even exploited enslaved women's motherhood. Some forced them to serve as wet nurses so their own beauty wouldn't be ruined by breastfeeding. Harriet Jacobs recalled her mother being forced to stop nursing her infant so the mistress's baby could thrive. For the enslaved mother, it meant starvation and grief. For the mistress, it was convenient. The plantation was a poisoned world where every human bond, love, sex, and motherhood was twisted by slavery. White mistresses, so often painted as victims of patriarchy, were sometimes predators themselves. They used stereotypes, violence, and silence to maintain power. Behind lace curtains and Bible verses lay a darkness polite history rarely admits. And if you want to understand slavery's true horror, you must see it through the eyes of the enslaved, those who bore the weight of both.